there is an organization called, let's see, what is this? I'm not sure what this organization is called, damn it. Hold on a second. Megaphone Strategies, I guess. Oh, here it is. Detention Watch Network. They don't have it at the beginning of this press release they sent out today. It's pretty intense. Today, news broke of a hunger strike at the Wyatt Detention Facility in Rhode Island that began on Saturday, with approximately 60 people participating. While across the country now, there are over 60 immigrant women who are on hunger strike at the Northwest Detention Center in Washington State. 2 weeks since the first person in ICE custody tested positive for the virus, hunger strikes are growing across the country as people are refusing food because of the fear of exposure to this virus. These are people who have crossed the border, been seized with Mexico, been seized by ICE, slapped into detention. Whatever happened to all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children in cages? Where are they? This filthy government has no idea. This Nazi cloud of fuckers in Trump's administration have no idea. Literally have no idea where the kids are. We know where the adults are because they're making noises. A person on the hunger strike at the Wyatt Detention Center said via a telephone conversation yesterday, quote, "We are trapped. You don't know which way to turn around, who to speak to. God forbid sooner or later the coronavirus is going to hit here." Barbara Suarez Galeano, who's the organizing director at Detention Watch Network, said this, quote, "In the last 3 weeks, there have been 10 confirmed hunger strikes nationwide as people in immigration detention are protesting their incarceration during a global pandemic. People are bravely speaking out the only way they can by refusing meals and knowingly weakening their immune systems. These are organized protests to demonstrate the level of desperation and fear that exists and the urgent need to be released from detention now." Now, I don't have to tell you about ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, their rotten, filthy, shameful Nazi record of medical negligence, poor sanitation, inability to respond to past infectious disease outbreaks. It's all detailed in a Detention Watch Network report. And the title of the report, I don't know if you look it up or not, but it's Courting Catastrophe, how ICE is gambling with immigrant lives amid a global pandemic. Maru Mora Villapando, who is the organizer at La Resistencia, a group that supports people inside the Northwest Detention Center, said, quote, "For weeks we have been ringing the alarm bell to release people now. The ongoing and increasing number of hunger strikes at facilities across the country underscores ICE's record of neglect and the urgent need to release people from ICE custody now." Ms. Suarez Galeano added this, "With COVID-19, we are seeing issues endemic to detention come to a head, like ICE's fatally flawed medical care, unsanitary conditions that only worsen in times of crisis, and complete lack of transparency. Detention centers," she went on, "are hotbeds of infection. The government can and should release people now. Our collective public health depends on it. People in detention are in grave danger, and everyone that has the discretion to release people, the administration, local elected officials, ICE, other government agencies, will be complicit in the loss of life." Now, write this down or at least check it out, okay? Just for Cousin Mike. The place is this organization, detentionwatchnetwork.org. Easy enough to remember, detentionwatchnetwork.org. detentionwatchnetwork.org. It's real important that the people who run these death camps and this filthy Trump bastard and the pigs around him, it's important that they are aware that we know about this stuff. When I first got involved with Amnesty International back in the early 80s, the reason I got involved, I got a solicitation, free Nelson Mandela. And no, it was before that, free Steve Biko. Free Steve Biko, who eventually died in South Africa in detention. And in that initial letter I got from a solicitation from Amnesty, they made the point in the letter that fascist governments, dictatorial governments like the one that existed in South Africa under Botha, they know that nobody's going to know who they have in prison because in a fascist state, there is no press to speak of except the government press. There are ministries of truth and ministries of peace and ministries of all kinds of shit that are, in effect, exact opposites of what their titles indicate, just like it's becoming in this country. But the point was made that Amnesty's program of writing letters, short notes, and this was in the age of snail mail. There was no internet for us. Letting the heads of government, letting the state ministers know that we, Americans and other peoples in Europe, people in Asia, people in South America, that we know about Stephen Biko being held in prison. We know that he's being held because he was seeking freedom and justice. That puts pressure on the fascist government because they do their shit in the dark. They don't want anybody to know. Just like this Trump son of a bitch. They don't want anybody to know. That's why he comes out every fucking day like he did earlier this evening and lie through his ass. He's just a fucking liar all the way. But anyway, detentionwatchnetwork.org. If you go to that website just to let them know that we are aware of these hunger strikers. Can you imagine being in a detention center, knowing what's going on out here in the world, knowing that one of these Nazi guards or somebody could bring this fucking poison, this virus, into where you were staying? What, 6 feet of separation? Give me a fucking break. What are we to believe? That everybody in detention is given a mask and gloves and sanitizer? Huh. Hey, Truth Seekers, Mike Malloy here. While you're sheltering in place and practicing safe social behavior, probably catching up on the Malloy cast, remember, we have a new weekly program just for our patron supporters. There are other thank you gifts for your support. Remember, visit MikeMalloy.com and click on the big patron link on the main page. You can't miss it, and we can't do without you.